What do we want to see from Apple's Unleashed event? This is Mac Voices. This edition of Mac Voices is supported by the MacVoices Slack, available to Silver, Gold, and Platinum patrons of Mac Voices. Sign up today at patreon.com/MacVoices. Welcome to Mac Voices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. This is Mac Voices Live. It's Tuesday night at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, whatever time it is, wherever you are. We're in the YouTube chat room at youtube.com/MacVoicesTV. We'd love to have you join us there while you watch us. You can throw in comments, questions, thoughts, whatever you think is appropriate to throw at us, and we'll try to do our best to respond. First of all, I have a couple things to announce or talk about, but I'm going to go around the room and make sure we get the panel introduced because I almost blew it last week. So let's start. I guess we'll do normal order. Mr. David Ginsburg. David, good to have you.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me, Chuck. Having some fun times this week, and we got some good announcements to talk about too.
We are having fun times. Okay, yes. After the day I've had, I'm not quite sure.
Yeah.
Jim Ray is with us again. Jim, good to have you.
You just can't get rid of me.
Why would we want to?
You said you hesitated before you said again, as if.
No, we're just glad you're back.
Sounds like he tried.
Thanks for the support there, Patrice. Speaking of which, Patrice Brend'amour is back. Patrice, good to have you as always.
Well, and it's not, what is it, Tuesday night? It's actually Wednesday morning here. So
don't you have any better way to spend your vacation than to hang out with this crew?
I guess not.
Yeah.
I guess not. No.
We're sorry.
No, it's fun. I was actually looking forward to this. So.
Good. Well, I'm glad you're here. Warren Sklar is still in the basement. Warren, good to have you back. I hope you're feeling better.
I am, and I'm still here, but I did escape, and I got some fresh air the last 2 days. I've been back to work, so that's good. And I'm excited to be here and talk some exciting stuff going on today.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Good to have you. And last but absolutely not least, Brittany Smith has left her meeting early or canceled it or something, and she's here right on time.
I'm here. Happy to be here, Chuck. Thanks.
How'd you do it this time, Brittany?
That's my secret.
Oh, okay. All right. We won't tell anybody. Yeah. We won't tell anybody. So a couple things on my radar before we get into tonight's discussion. First thing, as you can tell, I'm still in pink. It is still Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I was corrected last week. It also is ADHD Awareness Month. But one of the topics we're going to touch on tonight is it's also Cybersecurity Awareness Month. October is a busy month with lots of designations. So that's
and Halloween too. Don't forget Halloween. Yeah. That's really important.
Well, Halloween. Yeah.
Well, it's not. Yeah, but that's not an awareness month. That's a holiday.
We need to be aware of spooks.
And we had Indigenous Peoples Day.
Yeah, Halloween Awareness Month. That's a thing.
When Chuck's shirt turns orange, automatically we'll know it's Halloween.
Yeah.
I'm going to set up an automation to turn his lights orange without his consent.
Oh, good. That's nice. That's just what I need. And making a late entry, Ms. Kelly Gamont has arrived. Hello, Kelly. Can you hear us yet? She's looking confused. Like maybe I can, maybe I can't.
I'm saying you have to accept all this stuff now before it actually.
Yeah. I think she can't hear us.
No,
I couldn't for a minute. It's okay now.
Okay.
Kelly.
Okay. Welcome. Good to have you.
Hi.
Good to have you,
Kelly. Here.
So the one thing I wanted to mention that, and this will warm the cockles of Warren's heart. But I saw Nick Clegg on, Nick Clegg is the VP of Facebook's Global Affairs. He was on Meet the Press this week. And I have to tell you, they should put him in charge, or at least as the major spokesperson, and send Zuck out to sail or whatever he's doing, because he did a really decent job. There wasn't a lot of apologizing. There were explanations. and they weren't the usual, well, we just, kind of fuzzy wuzzy explanations. He talked about exactly just what happened and how it happened, and some of the decisions they're making, and what they think the reality of combating hate speech is. I will have a link in the show notes, and I will also throw it into the chat rooms here in just a second. If you think it's worth your time, go and listen to it. I don't know whether you'll agree or not, but I just have to say it's probably the first time I've been really honestly impressed with a Facebook representative trying to address some of these things. Did anybody else by any chance see it? Okay.
No, but I've seen Sheryl Sandberg take over here and there, and she's not bad either. Zuck is just he's not a spokesperson, but he should be behind the scenes. He's very smart, but people have a hate for him, rightfully or wrong, and he should accept that and allow other people to take over. And I think that's not a bad thing. Kind of like Steve Ballmer kind of did for Microsoft,
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. This sounded like a business person, as opposed to, with all due respect to Zuck's status as a founder, it just sounded like this was a grown-up in the room, and that, at least for me, that made a lot of difference. So, we'll see how it goes. And I'm just throwing the link into both chat rooms. So there you go. So with that, I think we have to talk about the fact that as we record this today, Apple announced that we will be seeing new Macs next Monday.
And they didn't even check with my schedule first.
I know. They didn't check with Brittany. It's a huge problem.
And they didn't actually say that we would be seeing new Macs.
They did not.
That's true.
I'm thinking
they could be releasing something else. Like, I don't know.
That's right.
It's going to be AirPower and just AirPower.
New iPhone sucks.
It's the iPod Touch event. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, it could be.
Okay.
It's the AirPod Pro Max Pro Max.
I wasn't around for it, but I hear I'm owed some kind of iPod socks.
Yeah.
Everybody got a pair.
Go ahead and look on.
If you're early enough, you got a bumper for your iPhone 4.
Didn't get one of those either.
I got one.
I got one of those.
Somewhere.
No socks, no bumpers.
Yeah.
Well, about the Mac 128.
It seems like this almost
and a YouTube album. The things we got for free was a bumper and a YouTube album.
Okay,
calm down.
Yeah.
I'm out of. I've lost control already. It's just like 4 minutes into the show. I think this seems logical that this would be the last Apple event of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to see the M1 X Max or whatever they're going to call them, it would seem logical that this will be.
They did 3 shows last year, so it's not impossible. I mean, I don't know what they would announce, but it's going to be Macs. I was just pulling your leg. They didn't actually say anything about Macs, but it's got to be Macs.
They didn't Patrice, I thought 2. Did they do 3 shows or 3 press releases right after another? I kind of remember.
They had a 3rd show last year.
It was,
but there was 1 year.
Last
year. The year before, there was 3 press releases. Remember, one press release and another.
Right.
It was like every
that was
Friday?
like a week or so before WWDC. They did, I think, like 4 days in a row.
Yeah, they
Monday,
cleared the deck.
Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah, I remember that.
So the new Macs are definitely more than a press release. Although when they did it last time, there was sort of major things coming out. I kind of remember.
So, seriously, it was last year that they did one a month for 3 months in a row.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And the September event wasn't even the iPhone event last year.
But this morning on TDO, I was like, they did at one point they did 3 in a row, but I can't remember when that was. It seems like it was a thing that happened, but I can't remember. Yeah. So that's why I'm so entertained that it was a year ago. So yeah.
I don't know. Did they do one in November? I mean, I'm not sure.
Yes.
Was it November? Okay, then.
Yeah. They did. They did the Apple Watch and iPad in September, iPhone in October, and Mac in November. That was last year. It feels like 20 years ago.
October's historically been Mac.
The
announcements.
laptops.
True.
Yeah. Was last year. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
so it could be socks. It could be a new MacBook, but you never know.
By the time we get together again, we will know what it is and, how much of a hole they've burned in whose credit card.
Unrelated. I have a couple of MacBooks for sale. Unrelated to any of this.
Do they have serial numbers?
See if
they have serial numbers. Yes, they all do.
If they come out with the 16-inch Pro, I've been hoping for. But I promise I didn't bro-plane about it like people Kelly was talking about. Anyway, all I have to do is get this one to eat it a third time, and I get some credit towards it. So
I smelled this coming a few days ago, seriously, and I went to the online sites and I put my computers in for for a lock price and for selling. So if you haven't done that, do that now if you are thinking about selling anything, because it's a good time to do that.
Are you getting good prices, Warren?
I'm only selling. I have the M1 Mini, which I'm on now. I got a 13-inch MacBook Air that I put up. They're giving. I got $675 as an offer for it, which is not bad because I mean that the Air I've seen on sale now at Best Buy for like $800. So I mean, it's
that's terrible. Like 2/3 the price of a year-old machine. That's not too bad.
It's not too bad. And I sold my Pro for the Mini, so I got some money back from that. And I sold a Windows laptop the other day, so I'm good. I'm ready. So bring it on, either the 14 or 16, depending on what they are. So.
What I'm hearing is any minute now, Warren's going to spin off Crazy Warren's House of Apple Gear or something and just start like a swap meet somewhere.
I would love to do that. I had too many screens. There's a point in your life where you're just looking at too many screens and you have to consolidate. So that's what I did.
So I don't want to waste too much time on this because we have some more timely things to talk about. And this is all speculation, but what one, I mean, the rumors I've read, and correct me if anyone's seen anything different, the 16-inch MacBook Pro and a redesigned Mac Mini seem to be the neck and neck on the favorites.
And a 14. So 14. I'm hearing a 14 and a 16.
Okay, that would make sense. So what? I mean, real quick, what feature set? And I'll go around the room so each of you get a turn. But what would cause you to make the change if you're in the market for a machine at all? So, and I'm going to start in reverse this time. Kelly?
I am not in the market because I have an M1 from last fall. So, and behind me is also an M1 machine. So I don't think either of those are in the market to be upgraded right now. I think what we're going to get though is redesign. And I think part of the mini conversation is redesign on what the Mini is going to look like going forward. And I think we're going to get refreshed outsides for the laptops as well. I think they just figured out how to put Apple Silicon in the chassis that they have. And we're going to get a look at some new ones. And probably that new form factor is going to have something to do with the new sizes.
Okay. Brittany, you said you want a 16-inch MacBook Pro.
Yeah, although I might be able to hold out on this one if it doesn't have an SD card slot. And it's not because I take a lot of external pictures. It's because when I had a computer with USB-A, I used these tiny little drives to keep whole video projects on. So I could pop it in and out and swap between video projects and not all have to keep it locally. And they don't make them in USB-C, but they do make huge SD cards. So in order to get that workflow back, so if it has an SD card, I sort of feel like my hands are tied and I need to, but I might limp along on the Air longer if it doesn't.
Okay, I can't let that go. But I can't let that go. I would need to drill down just a little. Okay. So you kept the video projects on the card. I mean, I understand the concept. Was the card fast enough to do editing at all?
They're little flash drives. Yeah.
Yeah.
Way faster than having your computer be too full.
Well, that's true too. Okay. Interesting.
And so I could pop one project out and, eject it, but I could keep it attached all the time. So there's no, oh, oops, I forgot to eject it properly, because it would just live in there until I swap projects.
Okay. Warren, since you're going to be Macless, you're selling everything and buying new. What will be the driving factor?
Just screen size. If my Air was 16-inch and exactly the same shape and performance and ports, I would be happy. The M1 is super fast. I can't imagine needing more, but the screen size is something. My eyes aren't as good as they used to be, so I like the bigger screen.
Okay, interesting.
Says the new owner of an iPad Mini.
that was an impulse purchase thing going on there. So, but real quick, the other night Dave showed us this awesome thing where I can make everything bigger on my screen.
That's true.
And now it's all good.
Okay. Yeah. Patrice, what would cause you to dig out your credit card?
I mean, honestly, not all that much, because I've been in the market for a new Mac Mini property for the last 2 years. I just couldn't do it last year, and then financially, and decided to just wait. So anything new on the Mac Mini, especially if it supports bigger screens and more I/O, that's my machine. I just need more ports. The current Mini, the current M1 Mini is not good enough.
Okay. Before I get to Jim, I will ask the chat room, what would cause you guys to dig into your pockets and buy something new? What feature or features would make a difference? Jim, how about you?
Well, I probably won't be buying a machine, because I was waiting, and I guess end of June, I couldn't wait anymore, and I bought a 13-inch M1 machine. So I probably am not going to turn around and buy another one. I was waiting for the 16-inch. That's what I really wanted. But I'm pretty happy with the 13-inch. But I'm still super excited about this event, and I am really interested. What I'm interested in is less particular computers, but what are they doing with the evolution of the processor? What's the performance going to be? What are the ports? How much memory is it going to allow? They've titled this Unleashed, and to me, I'm expecting a blockbuster announcement on the processor side. Maybe it's, a lot faster, or maybe it's, more memory or more ports or all those things. But, that to me is, I'm really excited about what have they been doing in the last year with that processor architecture. And, I'm sure they'll have interesting, all this interesting computers to put it into. And, most likely the 16 and 14, because I think those are the big sellers that everybody's waiting for. But yeah, I'm just really can't wait. And they're bringing it to us a day early.
Not Tuesday, which is weird. Yeah.
I was trying to figure out if Tuesday's a day of
Tuesday is was it Google or Microsoft event? Something is on that day.
Are we really going to believe that Apple gives one rat's ass about what Google is announcing?
Depends on how much they know about what's being announced.
I think it's Indigenous CEO Day, and that's why they're not having it on Tuesday.
I don't know, but I can't imagine Apple's going to schedule or have their schedule. I'm sure this was set up a long time ago before they knew that Google was going to do that.
Yeah, is that what it is? Is Google has a thing on Tuesday?
Well, apparently they do, but
the Pixel.
That would make sense.
Yeah,
it wouldn't be the first time that Apple has tried to take all the oxygen out of the room.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what time is Google. They're going to take the oxygen out of the room no matter what.
Yeah, but it will be more if they can do it a day early.
Yeah.
Well, then they should do it 3 days early.
Oh, that's a Saturday.
Wouldn't you do it after if you were trying to co-opt it?
You might, but that's a really interesting thing. That if it is the Pixel, Google's Pixel, then that would just completely overshadow even a day's worth of coverage.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
If it's really something unleashed. So
no.
We'll see.
And
David,
it's not
how
just
about you?
vaporware.
Well, I'm not thinking vaporware, Patrice. I hope that Unleashed isn't ramping our expectations up too much. Because I'm like you guys. I'm with Jim. I feel like that title, there's a lot to be lived up to.
Yeah, they could unleash. They could unleash Apple TV Plus.
Probably.
I don't know.
They could, but yeah,
they could.
Yeah. David,
or
how
finally
about you?
do something with the HomePod.
What would dig into your pocket?
Right now, I've got the M1 Mac Mini. I got the end of last year, and it's been working awesome for me. My Intel 15-inch MacBook Pro, it's getting up there in age, but it's been doing the job for me. So financially, I'm just not ready to just pull anything out of my wallet just yet. So I'll kind of see how things go next year as things progress here. I'm pretty happy with the M1 Mac Mini right now, and we'll stick with that for now.
Okay. Brian in the chat room says he's thinking about an Air. The M1 would be fine, but he wouldn't want to throw $20-21 for a 2020 hardware. So he's not in a rush, which, fair point. Webb says he's looking for the new 16-inch MacBook Pro to replace his 2013 laptop. Wow. Good for you, Webb. You've really kept that going for a while.
Yeah. There was a rumor of a new MacBook Airs in the colors of the 24-inch iMac.
That'd be awesome.
Which I think would be cool too.
Yeah.
But that was thrown out there a couple weeks ago, so you never know.
I had to laugh at Brian's comment, not because it's funny in its own right, but because that's a thing that Brian Chaffin says over at Mac Observer constantly and had said forever about the iMac was, I don't want to pay $2019 or $2020 or $2021 for a 2017 machine. Mm-hmm. And that was like his stance against the iMac Pro forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. And so it was just very funny to hear a very Brian Chaffin sentence out of someone else who is also named Brian. So it just struck me as very funny.
But you can get the 2020 Air fairly cheap now. I mean, I've seen on sale.
Oh yeah.
Even today, it's $800. I think you could get it for it.
Yeah,
and it's a great machine. So I mean, Brian out there, and if you want it, buy it. I mean, I have no issues at all with the MacBook Air. I have the M1 Air. It's beautiful. It's great.
Yeah, they're wonderful machines. My work computer is an M1 Air, and it's awesome and it does absolutely everything I need it to do. Granted, I'm not doing like serious audio or video editing with it. The only audio editing I do, as a matter of fact, I do on my iPad Pro, but it's super duper capable. And I think part of the problem that Apple is going to have with these is convincing people, particularly if you've been a casual computer user for a long time and you know that you need maximum storage and maximum RAM and all that kind of stuff, like convincing people that because what Apple is doing with the system on a chip stuff is fundamentally different than anything that came before, it's going to be sort of hard to convince people but you will do fine with 8 gigabytes of RAM. You will do fine with, just a MacBook Air, right? Like there's a lot I think that Apple sort of is up against with that.
I had the 16-inch Pro and I had the M1 Air. Mm-hmm. I got rid of the 16-inch Pro because the Air was faster and quieter.
Yeah, it's such a good machine. Yeah. Patrice mentioned HomePods, and now I'm like, HomePod Mini would be, because that was one of last year at the iPhone event was when we got the HomePod Mini, and so now I'm like, maybe more HomePods are coming, like big ones, small ones, whatever. Maybe they'll come in iMac colors too. Who knows? But
that'd be cool.
I would love that.
So Brian followed up his comment with says, that's where he got that saying, credit Brian Chaffin. And he also says if I needed it, probably would, but at the moment, it'd probably be nice to have product in my workflow. Mm-hmm. So, I think there obviously has to be a lot of wait and see. Just a 16-inch MacBook Pro is not going to necessarily satisfy me. I want to see, what the specs are and what I'm being given. Because right now, the one reason I really haven't transitioned over to the MacBook Air as a main production machine is it can only drive one monitor. Mm-hmm. And that's one external monitor.
They released something today.
Not anymore.
Well, the hyperdrive thing. Today. Yeah. But that's. Mm-hmm. I listen. Hyper does some great stuff and all. I just feel, I want to see a lot more details before I come to depend on that.
It's definitely a hack. They're somehow splitting I think they're converting DisplayPort to HDMI out. Something.
They're doing some sort of magic, and I don't know what it is. But the thing to remember about Hyper is that they were the company that started making MacBook. I think at the time it was PowerBook batteries, where they would make the battery pack and then you would supply the MagSafe cable so that you could plug the proprietary MagSafe cable. Like that's where Hyper got their start, was like routing around Apple hardware nonsense. And so if this is just them routing around Apple hardware nonsense again, I feel like they have a history of doing so. And so I definitely want to find out more about what they're doing. I've seen some people do reliable display link things with 2 screens and a dock, and have the laptop open and be able to drive 2 monitors with it still. And that's gotten a lot better. Last year, when I got my machine, it very much felt like a dark art, and it was like, it only works if you plug both monitors in at the stroke of midnight under a full moon, and that sort of thing. And now it seems like it's a lot less gyration to make something like that happen. So I'm hopeful that maybe that experience has improved, and so maybe I can run both my screens with one computer now, and that would be awesome.
They did mention. Go ahead. They did mention during the specs, when Chuck and I talked this pre-show, that the refresh rates are kind of low. On HDMI 1 connection, it's at 60 hertz, but at the second connection is only 30 hertz. So. Might be a little bit of a concern refresh rate wise if those are looking at it being a little better in that sense. But no, I'm glad they've got technology, because that's been the challenge. Why, for gosh sakes, you can't even hook 2 monitors up to a computer? that's like so old school.
Yeah, I mean my bet is Monday.
But ultimately,
we'll see it change. I bet Monday the new MacBooks are going to allow more than that. The rumor says it's going to have 16 gigs of memory to start. So I bet it changes.
I mean, it doesn't even matter which company it is. Like no company can work around the physical limitations, and if the bandwidth is not there, the bandwidth is not there. Like that's why.
Which is crazy, because it's Thunderbolt 3. I mean, on both the MacBook Air and the Mini, it's supposed to have the most bandwidth of any.
Well, it does, but if the motherboard doesn't have another port or whatever, if you're
performance is what it is.
It's a evolution of a phone processor. Like, it sucks because it's the new thing, and Kelly first got her set up, it was lots of sad making, but
it was there, it was very sad.
But being an evolution of a phone processor, we're not quite as surprised that wasn't one of the things that was built in already.
Yeah, but it
should have been. But
but let's not forget that this is Apple's consumer level machine. Mm-hmm. This is not, we're all talking about MacBook Pros as opposed to a MacBook Air, and so as a result, you have to have something to differentiate between one and the other.
But then again, Apple shipped a 13-inch MacBook Pro.
Right.
So
that's what Kelly has.
Yeah.
But the Mini behind me will easily do 2 displays with.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm on the Mini with 2 displays.
Yeah, because it doesn't have a display in it.
I know. But
so there, it's two displays total. But I've gone through my entire career without ever hooking having more than 2 displays going on a computer. So
yeah.
I've never needed that. So that restriction hasn't bothered me at all. I mean, I could see how some people it would, but I think that's a pretty small, there aren't that many people that are that was a limitation for.
Yeah, but we're really loud about it.
I know.
And it's not just about 2 displays. I mean, it also goes down to like only having 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports.
Yes.
If that is something that you need,
that's a different question, but you can solve that now. Dave and I both have Thunderbolt hubs, and you can add more Thunderbolt.
You can add more ports, but you can't add more speed. Like it has 2 lanes, and that's it. Like
my problem with it is just having it on one side. And I know it's stupid, but there's a lot of times where I really wish I could plug it in the power on the other side. Like the pros, like the old pros, the Intel pros had the 4 Thunderbolts.
Warren, so you're exactly right on that. That is stupid, and I'm right there with you because it is so nice to be able to plug things in on either side. Absolutely. I would have told you that would have been lowest on my priority list before we got what we have now, and now it's like, I really want that every time.
Well, and it sounds like they're going to take that away from you.
Maybe.
Maybe not.
Because, the rumor is it's going to have a separate power port now.
Well, but that does not necessarily mean that you can plug in the USB-C and power it.
Yeah, people keep saying that, but
well,
we
don't know yet.
We don't know yet. It will be interesting to see, but that seems, wacky that they would have a power port and it'd also be like, okay, now I have to use up one of my USB-C ports for power. And what if they take away a USB-C port because they've added this power port? I'm hoping that, I don't know, it sounds like that probably is going to have this, some kind of MagSafe, but to me that seems like a total step back. I would much rather have it continue to be USB-C for the power. That sounds like, Apple's like, oh, we got used to this sweet revenue of selling people all these power adapters. Remember how much that used to cost us? Mm-hmm. And now I've got USB-C power bricks all over the place, and I'm just like, wherever I go, zip, and those days may be over.
Well, we'll find out Monday.
If it's hubbable like Thunderbolt 4, there's no real reason they can't put 4 ports on even now.
Physical space.
Well,
on a 16-inch,
and Brittany needs her SD card.
Yeah, on an existing machine. The thing is, like, these are the machines I think a lot of people might actually have been waiting for, because we took an iPad Pro and we stuck it in a mini chassis. Is a thing that happened. Like, that's basically what these machines are. Like, I'm not, we took a nice beefy iPad Pro and we stuck it in the aluminum back there, or we stuck it in the laptop I have here on my desk. And I love it. And there's nothing wrong with that. But they were taking, like, here's the, production situation for the machines that we have. And we just need to figure out how to put our processor into that situation. And so now Apple gets to design the situation from the ground up. And I really hope that we don't hear any ests in this. I don't want to hear thinnest. I don't want to hear lightest. I don't want to hear skinniest. I want a screen that's a little thicker so that you can give me a decent FaceTime camera. I want something that's an ounce heavier so that you can give me extra battery. I want something that's slightly thicker so Brittany can have an SD card slot so that she doesn't have some sort of sad making situation with her new M1 machine like I did. Like, I want all of those things to happen the way that they could. And so, like, these are the ones I've been looking forward to, just like Jim was saying. Like, this is the revolution track. Like, they sort of went evolution first with, can we jimmy our stuff into the Intel layout, and so now that they don't have, now that that's sort of unencumbered them, I want to know what these are going to look like for a bunch of reasons. Number one, they got to design them themselves. Number two, Johnny Ive was a lot less involved with this round, I would imagine. So they don't have to be, they don't have to be thinnest. They don't have to be lightest. They don't have to bend if you sit on them because you put your computer in your back pocket because you're a dude and men's pants do that, I guess. Like, yeah, that's a separate show. Sorry. But like, that's the thing about this event is that I'm really looking forward to it to find out what Apple has gotten to do with their stuff when it's all them from the ground up, all the way from the inside, all the way out. That's the thing that I'm trying to that I am looking forward to seeing. I have no interest in one aside from as a spectator. Where's Apple headed with this? Where are things going? Is there going to be a Mac Pro that they roll out on those spendy wheels at this event? Like what this is Apple, planting a flag in the ground for what the next decade's going to look like. And I want to know what that's going to be.
I want to see iMac pants now.
I want to see a razor.
Kelly,
thin.
I would like all the things that you're saying. I would like those too. And we'll see. Joni is gone, but there are Intel laptops that have more ports and SD cards and stuff, and so it's not like Apple couldn't that couldn't be done. But we'll see. I do really doubt that there'll be a Mac Pro. I gotta assume that is going to be the very last item on their transition thing.
Next year.
Sure.
No sooner than a year from now.
Yeah.
But I think getting a heavier laptop, I think it's something you won't want once you get it. I think having a really light, thin 16-inch MacBook Pro would be great.
Well, I had a 17-inch for 5 years.
And that thing was a monster. It was my back still hurts.
I would have bought another one, but they stopped making it.
But I think,
Jim, I'm with you. And we need to move on from this topic, but I'm with you on the 17-inch. The only thing that saved it was the fact that the 15-inch got an improved resolution. Jim is drinking invisible water.
That's the weirdest thing.
Yes, Brittany. Yeah, I'll give you the last word on this.
I think it would be really fun to live in this world where when it says MacBook Pro, that's what it means and it has all the features. And I know it's been a while, when they say MacBook Air, that's the one that's thin and light.
Good point.
Well, I would love to see another 12-inch.
So you're the one.
No, everybody loved that thing.
All right.
If you look
on that note, we're moving on.
Has them right now, by the way. If you want to get one from 2016, I'm almost tempted. Go ahead.
So that's what we hope to see coming out of Apple's Unleashed event. Next time on Mac Voices, we pick up the Mac Voices Live panel's discussion of Google apps running on iOS and the experiences, good and bad. And some are very good and some are not so good. And we also start digging into a few topics related to Cybersecurity Awareness Month. That's next time on Mac Voices. Until then, and as always, I'm Chuck Joyner. Thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with Mac Voices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.